Hello everyone, my name is Chloe Page and today we're going to be doing a presentation on the airline profile for Emirates Airlines. Emirates is one of the most recognizable airlines in the world today. They have a reputation of having really good network of international flights. They have exceptional customer service and then a very modern fleet. So a little bit of a little bit of a brief history with Emirates. They were founded in 1985 in Dubai. And something that's really remarkable about that is that they only started out with 2 airplanes. I thought that was very interesting. But after a few more decades, they decided to expand, and then they became a major global carrier. So today it's going to be known as one of the biggest airlines in the world. They serve more than 140 destinations worldwide, so they fly out to 140 different destinations. And it was supported by the strategic location. They're between Europe, Asia, and Africa, so it was a good connecting factor for those long distance flights. And then the current market we have to talk about, they operate in the international passenger market area. Their main location, so their main hub is in Dubai. It's a Dubai International Airport, which is the identifier as DXB. Because it is located between major regions of the world, many of the passengers use Emirates for the, like I was mentioned earlier, for the connecting between long distance, long haul flights. They operate again in Europe, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, and Oceania. This gives them a strong position globally in the aviation market, and it gives them a good competitive edge with other international carriers. So location is very beneficial to them. Next, we're going to talk about the fleet. I already mentioned a little bit that we have a very modern fleet with Emirates. They have now they have 2 major airplanes that they operate with. It's going to be the Boeing 777 or the 777 and the Airbus A380. These are both pretty comparable planes. They're both going to be used for things like the long hauls, like I mentioned, but the B777 is specifically for long haul passenger flights and cargo operations. And then that Airbus A380 is going to be used for more like high capacity international routes, and it's become like more well known for Emirates as their brand. And another, again, wanted to mention they have a very, very young fleet comparatively speaking, like comparing them to other airlines. And this can be really beneficial with fuel efficiency, reducing maintenance costs, and just having a better overall customer experience, which is something, again, that they are known for. And then they are also, just a little fun fact, one of the biggest operators of the Airbus A380 in the world. So getting into alliances and oversight, unlike other major airlines, Emirates doesn't have any sort of major global airline alliance, comparative to Star Alliance or Sky Team. But it relies on some of the codeshare agreements with other carriers, and one of the most notable would be Qantas, which it allows the 2 airlines to work together and coordinate their routes so that we are they're able to give additional travel options for their passengers. And then Emirates is also going to be regulated by the United Arab Emirates Civil Aviation Authority, but they also must comply with their own country's regulations and rules. Corporate culture is really big with Emirates. They have more than 100,000 employees, which is really impressive. They have a really big emphasis on safety training, and that is obviously important in the aviation world more than ever. But something that's really unique about them is that they have a very expansive international workforce, we have employees from over 150 different like nationalities, which diversity is also something that's really important in this day and age. And that's something that Emirates prides themselves on, in having a very diverse workforce. They also, a little bit of a bonus for Emirates employees is that Emirates will offer like travel benefits, and it can help them like keep up with their staff, make sure that they're on good terms with their staff, so that they have them coming back time after time. A little bit of like what I've already mentioned, safety is important in aviation, always has been and always will be. And Emirates is really like well aware of that. That is a central like part of their operations, like how they handle things. They have a really strong, solid safety reputation. They're known for having like very advanced flight simulators and very intensive safety training programs. Something that did happen, which is a good example of showing how they handled this, was in 2016 they had a B777 crash in Dubai. All of the passengers and crew members survived, but unfortunately a first responder, a fireman, did lose his life. And after that accident, the company as a whole did a lot of like evaluation about like what went wrong and what they could do better, and they used this unfortunate event to learn and improve safety for their future. So for our outlook, when we're looking ahead, there's several strengths that Emirates has as a company. They're very well known, like globally speaking, it's a very recognizable brand. Another thing is that modern fleet. Modern fleet is very important. As I mentioned earlier, it's customer experience, but it's also just safety, and like economically, it's smarter for them as a brand. And then again, that customer service. Customer service is something that Emirates as a whole is honestly one of the things that they're best known for. But with some strengths, everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. So one of those would be fuel costs. Fuel costs is gonna be like a problem for any airline though, so it's not like a personal thing towards this airline as a whole, but it's a problem for everyone. So that's something they're gonna have to take into consideration. And then just like the global competition, they do have a leg up in a lot of things whenever you're taking it into consideration for global travel. However, competition is still competition. They still have to keep that in mind. And then there's economic downturns, and to get a little bit more into that, it just means that there's like less demand for air travel. Like for like future concerns, something that Emirates is doing is they are getting more into sustainability. This means that they're doing a little bit more research with finding what it could look like to be using more sustainable aviation fuels, and then also figuring out how their fleet, whether it's changing their fleet around a little bit, like how they can get aircraft using fuel more efficiently, not burning as much. And then my last analysis, there's major advantages to flying with Emirates. It's a great company as a whole. They have a really strong network internationally speaking, and then they have really good customer experiences. That's something really pride themselves and their brand on. And then even financially speaking, they are doing really well. There was some issues, like I mentioned, there's always going to be like the global competition, and then like fuel is expensive. However, they still are doing well. And with that being said, they must continue to like everything that they have in place right now with keeping a modern fleet and diving into sustainability. They have to keep those efforts up. And then environmental issues are always going to be important again. So just like investing in more fuel efficient practices will be really beneficial for the brand and their success. To conclude, Emirates has some of the like one of the most strong and recognizable brands in the airline world. Its success is because it has a very strong reputation, capable fleet, impressive fleet, and then they have excellent customer service. They have some issues, but their airline makes sure they are well positioned to continue competing like successfully globally. And then these are the sources that I use in the presentation. I use the textbook, the Emirates website, the Federal Aviation Administration, and then ICAO as well. Thank you for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.